You are wearing yourself out over things that will not matter to you in 10 years. I am not saying that casually. I am not guessing. I am speaking from a lifetime of sitting beside people who knew their time was almost gone. For 38 years, I worked in hospice care. I sat with more than 2,000 people in their final weeks and days. I listened carefully to what they talked about when there was no more pretending, no more posturing, no more future to plan for. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that most of what consumes you right now, most of what keeps you awake at night, most of what steals your peace, will one day dissolve into nothing. It will simply stop mattering. The tragedy is that many people do not realize this until they are much older, much sicker, or much closer to the end than they ever expected to be. They look back and say, "Why did I waste so much of myself on that?" I have heard that sentence in different forms more times than I can count. I have lived long enough to say it myself. So I want to tell you now, while you still have time to adjust course. The first thing I stopped caring about was being right. This was not easy. For most of my life, I believed that if I was right about something, I had a duty to defend it. I would argue my position. I would gather evidence. I would revisit conversations days later with better points. I thought I was standing up for truth. And truth does matter, but not in the way I once believed. In all my years with dying people, not one of them ever said, "I wish I had won more arguments." Not one. What they said instead was, "I wish I had not let small disagreements turn into permanent distance." They wished they had not turned politics into family wars. They wished they had not let pride harden into silence. Being right has a cost. It costs energy. It costs connection. It sometimes costs love. You win the argument and lose the warmth. You prove your point and create resentment. The satisfaction fades quickly, but the distance can last for years. Now I pick my battles carefully. Most are not worth fighting. Let people believe what they believe. You do not have to correct every misconception. You do not have to carry the responsibility of fixing every wrong idea in the room. The energy you save by letting go of that need is enormous. The second thing I stopped caring about was being understood by everyone. There was a time when I would explain myself endlessly. If someone misunderstood me, I felt compelled to clarify. If someone judged me unfairly, I would replay the situation over and over, crafting better explanations in my head. I lost sleep trying to manage how others perceived me. But here's what I learned. Some people will not understand you no matter how clearly you speak. Some have already decided who you are. No amount of explaining will undo that. I remember a woman named Patricia. She was in her final weeks, and she spent her precious energy writing letters to people who had misunderstood her decades earlier. She wanted to set the record straight before she died. I gently asked her if she believed the letters would truly change their minds. After a long pause, she admitted they probably would not. So why was she spending her last strength on it? She put down the pen. She chose instead to spend her final days with her grandchildren. That was a wiser investment. Let yourself be misunderstood sometimes. The people who matter will know your heart. The rest will believe what they want anyway. You are not responsible for managing every opinion about you. The third thing I stopped caring about was what my body looks like. Health matters, caring for your body matters, but obsessing over appearance, that is a thief of joy. I spent decades worrying about my weight, my wrinkles, my clothes. I avoided certain outfits because I thought my arms looked wrong. I skipped swimming because I did not want anyone to see my thighs. I stood in front of mirrors, cataloging flaws. Do you know how much life I wasted doing that? Your body is a vehicle. It carries you through this world. It is not a performance. It is not a project that must be perfected before you deserve happiness. One day, if you live long enough, you will wake up in a body that cannot do what it once could. And you will wish you had danced more, swum more, worn the dress, eaten the cake without shame. The standards you are chasing are always moving. They are not designed to be met. Wear what you love. Move your body because you can. Appreciate it for what it allows you to experience, not how it appears to strangers. The fourth thing I stopped caring about was keeping up. For years, I felt pressure to stay informed about everything, the news, the trends, the controversies. I thought staying current was a responsibility. But the world is loud, and it is designed to keep you anxious. The news cycle thrives on urgency. Everything feels critical. Everything demands your attention. But most of what feels urgent today will be forgotten in months. I began choosing carefully what I allowed into my mind. I pay attention to a few things I truly care about. I let the rest pass by. I do not know every internet controversy. I do not know every celebrity scandal. And my life is quieter, calmer, better because of it. You do not have to keep up with everything. You are allowed to opt out of the noise. Protect your mental space as fiercely as you protect your home. The fifth thing I stopped caring about was old grudges. I held resentments for decades. I replayed old injuries in my mind. I rehearsed confrontations that never happened. Meanwhile, the people I was angry at were living their lives, often unaware of my bitterness. In hospice, I saw families scrambling to repair decades of silence in a single hospital room. Sometimes reconciliation came. Sometimes it did not. Sometimes there simply was not enough time. So I stopped waiting. Forgiveness is not about declaring what happened acceptable. It is about deciding you will not carry it anymore. Resentment is heavy. It drains you. It steals energy from the present. Put it down. You deserve that freedom. The sixth thing I stopped caring about was whether my adult children approved of my choices. I love my children deeply, but they are not me. They worry about me, as children do. When my husband died, they wanted me to move immediately into assisted living. They believed it was safer. I listened, I considered their fears, and then I made my own decision. You do not stop being a full person just because your children are grown. Love them, hear them, but remember that your life is still yours. And finally, I stopped caring about being productive all the time. This was the hardest lesson. I was raised to believe that worth came from usefulness. Even after retirement, I volunteered for years because I did not know how to simply exist. Eventually, my body slowed down. I could not do as much. I had to learn that I was still worthy of love and space and rest, even when I was not producing anything. You are not a machine. Your value is not measured by output. A good life contains rest. It contains empty afternoons. It contains quiet moments where nothing is accomplished except being alive. At the end of life, no one wishes they had optimized more hours. They wish they had been present. They wish they had chosen peace. I am 92 years old. I have watched thousands of people die. The pattern is clear. They cared too much about the wrong things for too long. They gave their energy to arguments, appearances, grudges, noise, approval, and endless productivity. And at the end, what they wanted was simple: peace, love, meaning, connection. Somewhere in your life right now, you are spending energy on something that does not deserve it. I cannot tell you exactly what it is, but you can feel it if you are honest. Put it down. Do not wait until you are at the edge of your life to discover what truly matters. Let go now. Save your heart for what will still matter when everything else falls away. Because one day you will look back and you will either be grateful for how you spent your energy, or you will wish you had chosen differently. You still have time to choose differently.